everyone. Welcome to episode 87 of Formidable Opponents, a show that pits three people who have known each other virtually their entire lives in a series of conversations as we argue what is best in a variety of fun, engaging, and critical pop culture topics we all debate about. I'm Randall, and with me as always, Bob and Joseph. And this week's topic is best movie plot twist. A good plot twist can really make a movie stand out and leave a lasting impression on the viewer. One of the best things audience goers love about plot twists is that they can change the way you think about the movie. It's a conversation, a sticking point. You sit there afterwards deconstructing everything you thought you knew before being completely blindsided. There's a huge rewatchability factor with these movies. That satisfying feeling of knowing what's going to happen can make for a whole different viewing experience. Of course, not all twist endings are created equal. Some can feel forced or contrived. Some are predictable. But when that twist is done right, when it really hits, it's that powerful storytelling tool that can elevate a movie to the next level. When a twist is done well and makes perfect sense within the context of the story, we rewatch for the oh shit moments, for those clues, for what we may have missed. It's those elements that lend to the movie's legacy. Whether they're shocking, bittersweet, or provide the ultimate mindfuck, a good twist can make a movie unforgettable. This week, Formidable Opponents debates and discusses best movie plot twist. As always, I'm joined by two guys who know all there is to know about the crying game. Bob and Joseph, how are you guys doing?
Oh, no,
I'm delayed, so I'm doing pretty well. First one. Fucking good.
I literally thought he froze. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm just fucking around.
Bob is experienced some Zoom problem. He looks like he's in a Dire Straits video right now. So he's gonna laugh or step all over our jokes because he's about a second off. So we'll try to fix it in post. How are you guys doing, by the way?
I will try to fix you.
Doing good, man. Doing good. What's going on, everybody?
Doing great, man. I'm glad it is tomorrow's Friday and I'm off.
I'm a little bit older. I'm a little bit wiser.
Yes. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, Joseph celebrated his birthday yesterday. When I asked him out for a beer, he said, dude, it's Wednesday. That's how I knew he was old.
So, Joseph, how did you celebrate your birthday? Let's talk a little bit about that. Anything?
I didn't do shit. Absolutely did nothing, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was exhausted. I was tired. It's in the middle of the week, so it's not a lot of fun. But I'm actually getting tomorrow off. Nice policy that my office has where you can either take the day off itself or a day within the week. So I'm making this a 3-day weekend. Looking forward to that. I'm off, so I'm feeling good.
That's a great office policy. It's about time HR called you in for something good. So really happy about that.
Something positive. So, like, what's up with all the heavy metal in the workplace? You're making all the women feel awkward.
All right, guys, let's get right to it. What makes for a great plot twist?
The unexpected, like you mentioned in that great, somewhat patched work, because I'm sure you're going to edit it in post intro. The feeling of thinking you know what the fuck is going on, and maybe you have this movie figured out. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you do like it. What makes a plot twist great is whether you like the movie or not, whatever you thought you knew, you don't know.
It's just something that that really catches you off guard, the unexpected, something that makes you feel like, man, like Joe said, like, I thought I knew, but apparently I don't know shit. So I think it's that kind of moment. It's got to have that gotcha kind of moment.
Okay. Careful plotting is something that's essential to a great plot twist. If your audience telegraphs it or you can predict what's about to happen, then the movie has failed. I mean, there's so many categories for a great plot twist. You got the red herring where the most likely suspect is innocent. The false protagonist where who the audience thinks is the lead dies early, and we'll talk a little bit about that in one of our selections. You have the identity swap. The character is one thing but turns out to be another thing entirely. And then, of course, you have flashbacks and flash forwards, and those backstories and key moments of a character's motive that sheds a light on everything. So I think writers and filmmakers who embrace the risk of saying, how can we pull one over on the audience? We have to think 2 or 3 steps ahead. So I think that's what makes for a great plot twist, when the writer and the director and the cast are totally together in making the story unfold without us trying to predict it.
Yeah, I agree with that a million percent. Dude. When they can pull one over on the audio, which is really hard to do because there's a lot of people that pay attention to every little detail when watching a movie. When they can pull out the rug from under us, I think that makes it such a great movie.
With these surprise twists, filmmakers are targeting the emotional responses of their audiences. Are there films out there that you felt that the plot twist ruined what otherwise could have been a classic movie, or at least a good movie?
Oh, man, I think I have the winner. It's fucking Signs, man. Y'all have seen Signs. Everybody knows Signs. The worst plot twist in the history of movies is water. They're like, water. You just got to throw water on them. It kills them. Why the fuck would they invade a planet with 71% water if they're fucking allergic to water? That's what they kill. That's the Achilles heel. Give me a fucking break. Worst plot twist ever. Argue with me.
Joseph.
You know what? I like that movie, but I can see what you're saying. I don't think so. I don't think I've ever come across a plot twist that ruined the movie for. No, it didn't ruin the movie for me. I mean, it's interesting. It's kind of like the way you pointed out. Yeah, it's right in front of your face. The director and writer and everything that makes this cameo, he literally says in the film, I'm gonna go near water. None of these things are reported near water. So I think they don't like it. I mean, he kind of tells you right there. So I guess, yeah, I don't know. I still like the movie. I really can't think of anything that ruined it for me. A lot of movies come to mind when you think of plot twists.
Move your hand away from the microphone.
No, I know. I felt like being a rapper. You see those rappers like in videos nowadays where they cover their face. I felt like doing that. Anyway, no, man, I really can't think when I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to movies. I either like it or I don't.
I think for me, a Formidable Opponents favorite, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and that ridiculous third act where Jennifer Love Hewitt's friend is not only the killer, but he's the original killer's son. So he took all his friends to the Bahamas to kill them. Yes, Ben's son.
Ben's son. Come on, man.
He took all his friends to the Bahamas to kill them. They could have done that to themselves with enough alcohol and poor decisions. That's what I'm saying. So yes,
just hate Jack Black's performance in that movie so much. He's an American treasure. Peaches.
Don't sing that. That's get stuck in my goddamn head. The whole movie, Jennifer Love Hewitt's running around, everything's bouncing everywhere, and this guy's focused on
got a problem with that?
How dare you, Randall? How dare you? Focus on the wrong thing, baby.
Think about this. Think about this guy's motive. Yes, let me avenge my serial killer father who killed all your other friends by killing your new friends. I was okay with him killing Jack Black, but I don't know. Also, another one was Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, just so cartoonish. If you ever want to watch an actor completely mail in a performance, watch Mark Wahlberg in this movie. This is where...
Hey, Apes, how you doing? Say hi to your mother for me.
Say hi to your mother for me. Yeah. This is why there was no direct sequel, and they completely revamped the series as a solo release. So
I'm not going to let you take over the planet,
I just want to talk, Apes.
Why did
we all have horrible.
Mine's definitely the worst. Mine's the worst, but I can admit that. All right.
I was going to do another one, but
it's Mother's Day. Say hi to your mother for me.
All right. So was there a movie plot twist you had spoiled for you and it ruined the experience? If so, which movie and who was the asshole that spoiled it?
Okay. Joseph. You already know who this is, Joseph. You already know me and Joseph were standing there in the cafeteria, senior year, all excited because Halloween Resurrection was just coming out in theaters. And one of our buddies just happened to get a Thursday night pass to go watch the movie. And the first thing he says, hey, I saw Halloween Resurrection last night. Finally, that bitch dies. Jesus fucking Christ. It ruined the whole goddamn movie. Everybody at the table was like, dude, what the fuck? What do you mean Jamie Lee Curtis dies? Well, I didn't say who. Or like, what do you mean there's nobody else that's been in the previous movie?
You said finally.
Yeah, finally that bitch. Way to go. I didn't even go see it. I saw it on DVD with Busta Rhymes throwing Kung Fu kicks against Michael Myers later on that summer. But yeah, I was completely pissed off because I was excited. You know me, I'm a big horror movie fan, especially like classic horror movie, and Halloween's one of my favorites. So completely ruined it for me and everybody else sitting at the lunch table.
Fucked up those sloppy joes that day.
I don't, man. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't know. I can't think of one. I'm sorry, and I don't want to but maybe I can answer this with a question. Is there or do you think, and if you don't know the movie specifically, that's fine. But do you recall a movie's plot twist that saved it for you?
Oh, good question. That's a plot twist question. Joseph twisted it there.
Yeah.
Oh,
by the way, Randall's name is not Randall. It's Rendell.
It's Rendell. It's Rendal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Plot twist. Rendell.
You know, oh man, I can't think of one off the top of my head. Do you have one? You obviously do if you ask the question.
Well, no.
What the fuck, Joseph? Come on.
No,
man.
I mean, dude, like I said, I'm easy to please.
It was Ace Ventura. It was Ace Ventura. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is a man. Oh my God!
It saves the fucking movie.
Oh, anyway, let's not talk about that. Okay, so for me, I am so impatient with most of M. Night Shyamalan's movies. I just read the Wikipedias, and I'm the asshole who spoils it for myself. Quite frankly,
I'm a fan.
I didn't like the Village. Like I liked the Village until the plot twist.
You know, somebody did ruin Get Out for me, and yes, that person was white. So I don't know if that was a plot twist on the movie, but I was upset with that.
Maybe he was just telling you to get the fuck out.
All right, guys, let's go on to our honorable mentions. Bob, you go first. What are some of your honorable mentions?
Oh, dude, simple. Okay, Fight Club, I think it's pretty much obvious, man. Yes. Fight Club is one of my favorite movies of all time, and that twist and that change is just crazy. Kind of a mindfuck of a movie in itself. 7, what's in the box? Yeah, you got to go with 7. What a crazy plot twist for that serial killer in that scene. Saw, I think we were talking about this, Joseph, where the killer is literally lying next to him the entire time. Such a crazy twist in a horror movie, and I think that's what set Saw apart and why they were able to make 20 goddamn sequels after that. I think that first one really set the bar. Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. I am your father. Such a plot twist, man. Such a plot twist to that story. It's not true. No. Like, Jesus Christ, you never met somebody so sad to meet their fucking dad, right? Usually you get angry, but Luke seemed so heartbroken that was a dude that was his dad. Do y'all have any comments? Star Wars, come on.
I do.
I know Rand's chomping at the bit. He's there flicking his feet. He has his lightsaber folks in the background, by the way.
You lose your arm, and then you discover who your father is. That's a day right there. Anyway, I don't know if that Empire Strikes Back twist, I don't think that's such a big twist if your storylines are the same from like a Maury Povich episode. I'm the father. So I don't want to stereotype, but many Star Wars fans are nerds, and they are, right? I mean, when we like Star Wars, maybe not as much as some people. And
how dare you?
And I think most guys who
Joseph just put away his Harry Potter wand. I'm just saying after you said that.
I think most guys who picked this as their selection probably disappointed their father the way Luke did. So I'm just saying.
Well, here's the problem with Star Wars. There's so many twists. Like, you can't just choose I'm your father. There's another twist where Luke finds out Leia is his sister. The other twist where Vader turns on the Emperor and kills him and saves Luke. Like, there's a lot of twists in the Star Wars franchise, so it's kind of hard to pull one out.
Yeah, Billy D. Williams, Lando turns on Han Solo.
Coolest motherfucker in the world, man. Okay, lastly, I know before we move on, my last honorable mention. Now, this is a kind of maybe an unknown movie, but Joseph knows this one. Frailty.
Oh, I love Frailty. Yeah,
very good.
Bill Paxton. Matthew McConaughey. Jesus Christ, that twist at the end.
Yeah.
Epic, dude. The way they structured the movie and the killings, it's just, if you haven't seen Frailty, and I don't want to ruin this for anybody because this is one that's old, yes, but it's kind of like an obscure type of movie. It was kind of a B movie, but it was.
I think a lot of people know it.
Yeah, I hope so, because that's one of my favorite movies.
Great cast.
Great cast. Definitely great cast.
Even the I'm sure they've done other things now that they're older, but the kids, the two kids in that movie, they played their parts so awesome.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, so really well. It's a really great kind of fucked up weird movie. I mean, check that out. That's one of my favorites, man. One of my favorite. Great twist towards the end.
Indeed. I got, because I'm sure I'm next, even though Randy doesn't have to tell me. I have Scream. I thought that was the original. I got the Karate Kid, or maybe that's Daniel's mom. I mean, what the hell? I thought you were working in computers, or maybe that's just a plot hole. I'm just fucking out there. But suddenly she's working at a restaurant.
She's not the best around.
Talk about a plot twist. Nah.
She got fired, but that can never keep her down.
I got Coco as well. I think that was out of nowhere. But I think they kind of
good twist.
I think they kind of, although it was I think it was a great plot twist and just a great movie. I mean, you don't have to be a kid to enjoy that movie.
Just
I think you kind of, when you rewatch it, you see the hints that you know that the guy was the killer. Anyway, I have The Frailty as well. Like Bob said, go check out that movie. That's a great movie. I know we're going to talk about movies, and we're probably going to spoil some if you haven't seen them at this point, wherever you've been. But we won't spoil The Frailty. You got to go check that one out. I got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I remember the first time watching that movie, I didn't know whether or not I thought they were going to tell the story of Sharon Tate, the Tate murders and whatnot, and it was completely different. It was great. I loved it though. But talk about a plot twist. They go to the other house instead. I got Secret Window. I don't know if anybody, that Johnny Depp movie. Have y'all ever seen that movie?
Yes, of course.
That's that plot twist.
We're gonna fuck you up. What does he say in The Big Lebowski?
Yeah, I love that guy. I can't remember his name though.
That's just your opinion or whatever. The hideousness of that foot.
I love that guy.
That guy. He plays a great sport. But yeah, that's a great one. Johnny Depp is kind of a crazy dude in that one.
Yeah, I also had I have The Village because I think it was a great fucking movie. I thought it's awesome. I think and probably talk about that later. But anyway, and then also too, I had I'll just end it with Saw. This one was really tough. I was kind of going back and forth with this one and my pick, but yeah, I mean, those are what about you, Ren?
So I got The Usual Suspects, Verbal Kint, S. Kaiser Sose, Fight Club. Fight Club was a great one. Get Out, Parasite, the world's most fucked up barbecue. I mean, awesome movie. Have you guys watched Parasite yet?
Yeah. No, but I know exactly what movie you're talking about. I just haven't. Yeah. Well, I have a lot of shit planned for the summer, and it's mostly drinking and watching movies, so that's like right up there on my list. Apparently, it's fucked up, and I've seen like previews and trailers like of what it is, and I'm excited for it.
It's a great movie. I always remember Parasite as the last movie I watched before the pandemic. And so, just being out of theaters for so long, this was a good movie to watch in the theater. Shutter Island, that was a great one. Leo was a silent patient all along.
Twist.
Primal Fear. First time I watched Edward Norton in a movie. He was faking multiple personalities. Just a great ending of that one. Gone Girl, Amy still being alive. Shawshank Redemption, finally Andy gets a win. That's a great one. I got Scream up there as well. 7, What's in the Box. Friday the 13th, Jason's mother was the murderer. And I don't know if you guys have seen this one, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas with the gas chamber at the end.
Yeah. Why would you want to make us fucking cry? God damn it, you asshole.
What a horrible twist at the end. And I did have The Empire Strikes Back. And in all seriousness, I think that is something you have to mention. Kudos to Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Body Heat, and he made Empire Strikes Back a more noir, darker tone. So because of his writing, it was more adult than Star Wars, definitely more adult than Return of the Jedi, because that was all puppets. So, I mean,
it's only because Leia was in the top list. Oh, no, that was Return of the Jedi. Never mind.
For us growing up, that was like a major childhood memory. Luke, I Am Your Father. It's been parodied. We talked about Chris Farley last week. He had a scene in Tommy Boy where he's, talking in the fan saying, Luke, I'm your father,
What's funny is he never says, Luke, I'm your father.
Yeah, he never says that. No.
Yeah. It's kind of a misquoted line.
Just like Jaws never says we're going to need a bigger boat, right? So let's go. Let's go on.
What does he say? Wait, what the fuck?
He says something. That's not the exact quote.
Dreyfus doesn't say that. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
I think he says you're gonna. I think
he says you're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, something like that. It's not too far off. Anyway,
ting.
Yes, ice baby. All right, so let's go on with our selections. Bob, you're up first, and don't talk after you're done.
This show is perfect. This show has been perfect so far. 1 + 1. All right, let's go. I went with the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, a movie most considered as the first slasher film. And this is my type of movie. I like the classics. I like the black and white horror movies. That's what I grew up on, and the slasher movies. So this really does fit the bill. I've been watching this movie since I was a kid, and especially like in high school and through Halloweens. I've watched it religiously every single Halloween every year, and the plot twist still kind of freaks me out to this day. It's so damn clever and crazy, and it really kind of like makes you think how a mind came up with this in 1959 and Hitchcock made it a reality in 1960. This kind of plot twist is so crazy to see in that day and age. I think that's pretty crazy that at the end we find out that Norman's mother is not the killer. As a matter of fact, she's been dead and, sitting in a chair, rotting away while Norman's talking to her through his multiple personalities and dressing as her in drag. And he's the one that's actually killing the women and anybody who crosses his path. And I think that it's so ingenious and nobody ever sees it coming, because when we first meet Norman Bates, he's very unassuming. He's very shy. He's very, he's the type of character you don't see as the killer. You know what I mean? He couldn't be a killer. He's the way his mom talks to him supposedly talks to him in the house. And, he's such a mama's boy that you see, there's no way he could be the killer. She pushes him around. She tells him what to do. The only way he can kill is if maybe she forces him to. But we don't really see that. We think the mom's the killer. We see the mom or a shadow of the mom in their hair tied back in a dress, killing that infamous scene, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom in the shower. Everybody has their mindset man, his mom is crazy. Norman Bates' mom is the killer. And oh my God, he's got to cover it up for her. He's got to cover her tracks. He's got to save her because he loves his mom. And at the end, we find out he's a crazy fucker dressed in drag. Once the private investigator finds the mother actually dead, sitting in a chair, and he comes and tries to attack him. And then at the end, he's even playing to that multiple personality disorder type of thing at the end. So I thought it was extremely well written. I thought the idea and putting it to the actor, I thought that the actor played that role extremely well, and it was so unassuming, and in that twist I just never saw coming. And I think that it's so great to have a horror movie just fuck with you like that, but in a very subtle and smart way, especially for a movie made in 1960. So this is my pick. These kind of movies are right up my alley. And what do y'all think about it?
Excellent pick. And Bob, your Zoom's actually improving. Like, we're seeing you move.
Yeah.
You're looking like a Dire Straits video for the first 25 minutes of this podcast.
And now I look like Britney in the Mars video. What was it called?
So, and I want to ask you guys, and this is a question for both of you, because Bob, you opened up by saying this is a movie you saw repeatedly as a kid, and this is a movie that's been around since we were forever, right? Because it came out in 1959. I look at this movie and I see such a generational divide, because when you're introduced to horror movies when you're younger, you start looking at the classics, right? And you start looking at Hitchcock, you start looking at old Twilight Zone. Now you really don't get the sense that newer generations appreciate, or I shouldn't say appreciate, but view these again. Like, for them, classic horror is, Scream or any of these, Amityville remakes, or anything with a demon, or anything with a poltergeist or possession. Nobody goes back to the suspenseful, buildup of a movie like Psycho. And why is that? Why don't new generations appreciate it like prior generations did, even though we were long after this movie was filmed and made and released?
I think that Hitchcock said, there's no terror in the bang. There's terror in the anticipation. And I think that they're so good back in the day of building that anticipation and getting you at the edge of your seat. And nowadays, maybe I'm wrong, Justin. Maybe you can back me up on this. Nowadays, everything's about the quick fix, right? Everybody wants everything instantaneous. You know what I mean? It's the Googles, and you can get everything right then and there. You want food, you can deliver it. We want these new movies, and they realize that everybody has a short attention span because of cell phones, because of everything's at their hands, their computers, their iPads, their cell phones. So they have to get you right away, and they have to continue with these little sharp, suspenseful little scares, jump scares to keep you interested. And I think back in the day, people were more patient, and they would sit through a movie, and they could sit through dialogue, and they could have that long buildup. I mean, just my opinion.
There's no terror in the bang is also Bob's most romantic line. Anyway, so this movie was written by Joseph Stefano. But and guys, we think about Hitchcock. He produced and he directed this, but Joseph Stefano, amazing writer who wrote this movie and was step for step with anticipation, plot twist, and just an amazing dialogue. It was a departure from his previous film, North by Northwest, Alfred Hitchcock. as it was filmed, this movie was filmed in a lower budget, black and white. So I think the black and white actually really helps this movie, just like Clerks, right? Something about that black and white that really gets you hooked in. The biggest legacy of this film is the musical sound effect from the shower knife stab. Everybody does the sound effect. I mean, it's like, where did this come from? It was Psycho, right? And you know which one I'm talking about. I love the old school trope where everyone is smoking cigarettes inside the hotel and in the police station. The real plot twist here is lung cancer. Okay. So I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is inspired casting, but Bob, you can't talk about this movie without talking about Anthony Perkins. He's perfect in this movie.
Yeah.
His transitions from doe-eyed friendly innkeeper to evil-eyed monster. I mean, did Perkins invent the looking up from your forehead evil stare? I think so. If not, he definitely perfected it. I know that they did a remake in 1990.
Kubrick definitely stole it.
They did. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Kubrick did steal it. I know that they did a remake in 1998. Rest in peace, Anne Heche, but it was terrible. I think it was horribly miscast. I mean, really, Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates? I mean, I love Vince Vaughn, but he has sort of forged his own path as the quick-witted, fast-talking rom-com guy. He had a niche. He's, handsome enough to believe that he could date Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, but not versatile enough to make us think he'd murder them. So I think it was just bad casting in that remake. Shouldn't have been done. I think if they could remake it, and if they remade it now, I could cast a perfect actor that I could think of. It would be Adam Driver. I think Adam Driver would hit it out of the park as Norman Bates. I can't see anybody playing him. Anybody else, I should say. But yes, Psycho was such a huge film. I think you'd be hard pressed to find too many people named Norman after 1960. Kind of fucked up after that. When Norman,
other than a cow,
other than a cow, yeah, city slickers. When Norman came out dressed like his mother, I'm sure it was scary in 1960. But now he looks like your average school assistant principal on a bender, Anyway, not a very convincing woman. Adam Driver would have donned makeup and sold it. That's just what I'm saying. Okay, so I cannot say enough about Anthony Perkins. That shift from smiling to intense, he vacillates between boyish and menacing. I mean, just so well. He has this remarkable way about him. I mean, watching the clips, I couldn't help but to think there were a lot of Ted Bundy parallels. And this was years before Ted Bundy. How do you channel that? It's just so amazing. I can't say enough about his work in this film. Anyway, I love the twist, but I think the bigger twist was Janet Leigh dying 20 minutes into the movie. I mean, remember, this was the inspiration for Scream. Drew Barrymore was all over the movie posters. They showed enough of her in the previews to get you to think she was a main character and that she was a heroine, and this was her movie. So I think that's the real plot twist, Bob. I know the mother is what we all remember, but Janet Leigh, huge actress at the time, dying 20 minutes into the film. I know the twist is an all-timer. You don't mess with the classic, but I think there are so many ways to make it better, and that starts with getting Anthony Perkins a makeup artist and a stylist when he dresses up like his mother. Anyway, the mother twist was good. The killing of Janet Leigh, I think, was more important and instrumental and inspirational, and that's why the shower scene is always played. And it's why we check the shower curtains when we go take a piss in the middle of the night, because of Psycho. Joseph, what do you think?
Mother.
I was hoping you would sing it.
I'll be honest. It's not. This is a different type of quote unquote horror movie genre. I know Bob he's very much into these classic black and white
original
slasher Hitchcock movies. They're timeless and classic. They're just not for me. But I know that this is an incredible plot twist because it's the subject of the developing the split personality and thinking that it's one thing when it's actually the other. It's going to mirror my selection on a little bit, but spoilers, plot twist. It's a classic. It's obviously a classic. I think I'm not going to say I don't have anything bad to say about it, but at the same time, I don't have anything good to say about it mainly because of what Bob just kind of mentioned now, the patience that you have to have for it, which he does, and a lot of people do, and that's great. I personally don't, so I can't, give my 2 cents on how fucking epic and awesome this movie is and its plot twists and everything, but it's definitely monumental, studied, copied, as you mentioned earlier, redone, which shouldn't have been. And it's a great pick, probably one of the most famous, definitely up there on, quote unquote Mount Rushmore of this topic. Like I said, the slow pace and the it's not my cup of tea, but it's definitely a what the fuck moment, for movies. Yeah. So
again, Rami used one of Randy's words. Kudos, got to give kudos to Anthony Perkins. That transition, there wasn't a lot to go off of. There's no special effects in the 1959, 1960 when the movie
exactly
came out.
Simple.
For him to go from that doe-eyed boy, like Randy explained, and then to change to those like psycho, like empty eyes, that was just holy shit. Yeah. The acting that you have to come up with, holy shit. And again, like Randy said, there's nothing for him to go on. There's no main serial killer at this time in pictures in the paper and video of him like doing and acting crazy. He's kind of going off of what he thinks, and somebody who's lost their mind or multiple personality disorder, whatever it is, which makes it even more fucking brilliant. So I think, again, Anthony Perkins, fucking amazing actor, and what he did there in that transition, that change from like completely normal to psycho, it did it for me.
I think if Anthony Perkins was alive now...
You're going to say makeup. If you said makeup, I was like, God damn. He just wore a little eyeshadow. I swear to God.
No, I think if Anthony Perkins was alive now, he'd have a tremendous filmography. He'd be working with Scorsese, with Spielberg, with Tarantino, with all these directors. He was that damn good. I mean, great actor at the time, just didn't have the career he should have had. And I think a lot of it was him being typecast as what he performed in Psycho. But in that sense, if he does that movie now, he has a huge film career ahead of him. He blossoms after that. So I just, kind of a tough luck for Anthony Perkins. I would encourage people to read about his career because it's an interesting one. But, a good pick. I just think it's the wrong twist, but great movie. Joseph, you're up next. What do you got?
I picked 2003's Identity. It's a great film, great cast. Cusack, Leota, Amanda Peet, Alfred Molina, John Hawkes, John C. McGinley. I mean, and many more. It's just a tremendous cast, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm taking a lot of this description of the movie straight from Looper.com. So credit goes to them for their description. Because I didn't want to write one out and it was simply and it was simple enough written as it is. So Identity starts simple enough. Premise: 11 strangers are stranded in a hotel during a rainstorm, and an unknown killer begins to kill them off one by one. But again, like all movies, all movies of this type of genre, there's a complicating factor. We follow in parallel the hearing of a man convicted of multiple murders whose execution may or not be stayed on the grounds that he's legally insane. For most of the movie, it's not clear what those two stories have to do with each other besides the common themes of murder and uncertainty. Then in the last few minutes, the movie delivers two huge twists in rapid succession, one folded in the other. One of the twists is built up carefully, perfect, while the other just comes out of the blue. So thank you, Looper, for that description. Saved me from having to do some more writing than I needed to. Anyway, what are these plot twists, you may be asking? Well, let me tell you. The first twist is that the 11 strangers in the hotel all are the same person, or better yet, they're all different personalities of the mentioned man convicted of multiple murders, whose trial to this point has ran side by side with the story of the 11 strangers. Only now they finally start to connect. The hotel in which they are in is only a figment of the killer's mind, representing the space they all fight for, his consciousness. The murders we have been watching of the 11 strangers are not actually happening in the real world. These are all, and there's some hints to this, as one of the strangers attempts to leave the hotel. I don't exactly remember why, but I do remember he gets like drawn back to the hotel by some random event, like basically signifying that they can't leave. In the end, the last remaining survivor or personality is assumed to have gained control of the murderer's consciousness, and his execution is now stayed, and he's ordered to a mental institution. But wait, there's more. Plot twist number fucking 2, baby. I love how this movie reveals little details about each character and how they came to find out just exactly, and how you come to find out, just exactly how plot twists 1 came about, the first one. Remember, it's built up carefully and beautifully, I might add. So if you get a chance to watch it, I hope I haven't spoiled too much of it. Really love this fucking movie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about it. Excuse me. So the second plot twist is revealed just before the end of the film, revealing that the real murderer's personality faked his death in the mind, of course, and kills the remaining personality. Now in full control of the mind of the killer, he escapes his transfer and basically roams free. Again, I picked this movie because I loved it. I know we've mentioned some great twists. Bob has just mentioned his. What a great one. Randy's going to mention another one right now coming up soon. And I'll admit, and I'll admit, my love for this movie is why I picked it. I was torn between, two lovers, feeling like a fool with some of the other movies, Saw in particular, but I'm happy with this selection, and I hope you all will still go see it if you haven't. And I hope I gave some kind of detail. At least I know that you guys know what I'm talking about. So let's get at it. What do you got, guys?
Let's twist again like we did last time. Go ahead, Rand.
All right. So Joseph's so rambunctious in his new age. Okay, first off, the good stuff. Something I really want to talk about before we get into the movie. First, the good stuff. Amanda Peet is really beautiful, isn't she? I mean, let's be respectful and leave the salacious comments for our adult-themed fall sequel, Formidable Opponents Spicy After Dark, sponsored by Cool Whip, Sailor Jerry, and Duracell. Anyway, so I mean, we really, and guys, this was. I'm sorry, Joseph. I'm gonna talk about this movie. But Joseph, I saw the clips. I remember watching pieces of this movie on cable one night. So I was watching it, and the only thing that really stuck with me was Amanda Peet and how we really took late 90s to 2010 Amanda Peet for granted. I brought Amanda Peet stock since Origin of Species. I think she's great. Can we just talk about Amanda Peet instead of the shitty movies? We love it. Thoughts on Amanda Peet next?
Jenkins. She was Jenkins in How I Met Your Mother.
Beautiful, beautiful woman, tremendous actress, a lot of great, funny, memorable roles, and yes, like Randy mentioned, if you can get through the fact that she looks very, very beautiful, there's a perfectly great movie behind all of that, Randy.
Okay, so
yeah, but who cares? Who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, so
still a very beautiful woman, by the way.
So the movie. So remember, guys, how when we go to like mom and pop movie rental stores, and which were the ones we had back in the day? Top Video, Showcase
Top Video.
What was it? Rodeo? What was that rodeo one? There's like a guy riding a horse.
Starship Video. So
Starship, what the fuck?
Yeah, you guys are probably too young for that. Anyway,
okay, go ahead.
These were the places that had like the bar saloon door for the adults only videos. And by the way, I snuck in once. People in the 80s, they weren't really quite there with the body grooming yet. Anyway, that was just me back in the day. Anyway, when you'd go to these mom and pop video stores, they had $3 one-day movie rentals. So you'd return movies the next day by noon, or else you'd have to pay extra. And sometimes you'd get a little overzealous and rent 5 movies. And then you start playing movie math. If I watch one movie at 8 p.m., I could watch another one at 10 p.m. I could watch the third at 12 p.m., fall asleep at 2, wake up at 8 a.m., and watch the final 2 movies. So I could turn them in at noon when they're due. So you always prioritize the order. The two next day morning movies that you forced yourself to watch were the ones you were okay, sort of half paying attention to. And Identity reminds me of one of those next day movies. I have to hurry up and power through this so I won't have to pay a late fee movie. That's what this reminded me of. This movie tries to be a variant of an Agatha Christie novel. Victims trapped.
Why do we have to mention Agatha Christie on this pod? Jesus Christ! No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Victims trapped somewhere, being murdered methodically, and nobody catches on. Very prodding, right? I know I have seen this movie, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember this movie until I rewatched the clips. When Joseph mentioned it, we both said, you're talking about Born Identity? And he's like, no, I'm talking about some other movie. And it's a loaded cast. I mean, the plot can be incredibly frustrating. I found it was all hallucinations of somebody with multiple personality disorder. I think Primal Fear works a similar angle, much smoother. A star-studded cast, but the Alfred Molina character. So you're transporting a violently dangerous mental patient across the desert, and you open up the barrier to see if he's okay. I mean, who the fuck does that? The killer is the kid. That's great, but they should have cast Haley Joel Osment. That walking away from the exploding building without flinching. I don't don't buy it. Anyway, so we see the kid earlier in the movie. He fakes his death or whatever. So this should set up him returning. It seems very one-dimensional and predictable to me. This wasn't on any of the top lists that I saw, Joseph. Couldn't you be normal and pick the scene where Charlie shockingly gets the chocolate factory? I mean, come on. Anyway,
Grandpa Joe jumps out of the bed and fucker. I bet you that room stunk.
I'm afraid to insult this pick because, I might sit in a car seat in front of you someday, Joseph. I don't know how you're going to react to that. But anyway.
I'm going to tear your selection apart now.
And your friend. Everything you said.
And your friend, too. All right. But, hey, the villain gets away with his action. So that's cool. Bob, what do you think about this crappy movie?
By the way, let me say something. I tried to. I mean, I told you what happens in the movie, but I didn't
look behind the curtains at night in the shower.
I tried to do that without revealing anything, and I was gonna not say anything if you all didn't say anything, but Randy kind of told you what happened, so now you have no way to go watch the movie.
Could I say one more thing? John Cusack, or two more things. John Cusack isn't playing a lovelorn, sulky lead, so that's a win, right? And I know there's a lot more to this, and maybe we should have invited a medical expert on this one to talk about disassociation caused by extreme emotional trauma, right? This episode needed a psychiatrist. This whole podcast needs a psychiatrist. Anyway, Bob, what do you
We know you need a psychiatrist. Yes. Okay.
Maybe you should have stopped paying attention to Amanda Peet and enjoyed the movie.
I love Amanda Peet. Okay. We're gonna do a whole episode on her.
Speaking of Amanda Peet, now the twist in itself that you're talking about, Joseph, was that at the end we find out that the little kid in the one of the multiple personalities that is the killer, that is the psycho, that is the murderer, little kid. It ends up being the little kid. I don't buy that, dude, and I don't like that twist. I was hoping and praying that if they ended
because you all have kids,
the show. No, it's not believable. It's not believable, at least to me. Because the movie itself, I think is really great, dude. I really do. I like the dual scenes. One with the lawyers and one at the actual hotel scenes and everything like that. I think that's really great. But if they had ended it but made Amanda Peet actually the psycho or the killer, I would have loved that ending. And somehow made her, showing the flashbacks that she's actually the psycho and the murderer and turning him. That it would have been fucking phenomenal, dude. I don't like the fact that they have a 6 or 7 year old little kid as the murderer inside his mind. You know what I mean? The crazy one. So that's the only thing that bugged me. The movie's great. I know Randy doesn't like it. I think it's cool. I think there's a lot of build on, dude. You know what I mean? It has a good cast, had a cool little storyline, cool little something different. You know what I mean? But if Amanda Peet at the end had been the one, like when she's digging her garden instead of finding the key, finding bones and smiling or something fucked up like that, I think that I would have been all in. I would have completely agreed with you. But having the little kid just he didn't scare me. He's kind of it's like Haley Joel Osment. Like now, he's way scarier now than he was when he was a kid.
I didn't when I saw her digging up the garden and finding the key. I did.
You weren't staring at the garden. No.
I did. I was like, "What the fuck? Another key?" Like I the first time I watched this, I'm not gonna lie, I did not think it was. And we've already spoiled it, so I did not think it was the kid person. The kid was a child to two of the other personalities. Let's put that out there. But please, and be honest. And I know you're not going to be honest, Randy. Tell me when. Well, actually, no. You haven't seen. You didn't really see the movie. You saw clips. Bob's seen the movie. I know he's seen it.
I fell asleep.
Bob, when you watched it, was there at one point? Did you not think Amanda Peet was a killer?
Of course I did. I thought everybody.
I thought there was. Yes, everybody was. I thought they did a great job of. You don't know who the fuck is the killer.
Yeah, it's a different movie. Like I said, is it one of the best? Like those twists and turns? No, but it's still a very good movie. Twists and turns. Everybody has a little bit for the character development. Twists and turns. God damn it, Joseph! Shut the fuck up. Okay, so yeah,
character's better off for the experience.
Birthday boy, ladies and gentlemen. I think it definitely had a lot of twists, and you kind of like playing the guessing game.
But again, like I said, I cop to this. I said at the end, I love this movie. I really do. I was trying to decide between The Frailty, Saw, and this movie, and Bob posed a perfect question to me. He said, "Which one, when you watched it, did you have the what the fuck moment the most?" And it was this one.
That should be the criteria. Yeah.
I don't buy it. I'm just kidding.
Excellent.
So
all right,
let's get on.
Let's go on. Okay, so last selection.
We're coming after you.
Last and definitely least.
This is unassailable. This is a classic. Everybody that's going to listen to this is going to say, about time somebody mentioned this movie. I picked The Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis's character is dead all along. Okay, so the real misguided twist here was that fooling us that M. Night Shyamalan was going to release hit movie after hit movie. The only other movie I liked was Signs. That was okay.
Lady in the Water was cool.
No,
yes. The other, like, because he has a thing against Paul Giamatti. That's what
I loved him in Sideways. Okay, so
sounds sexual.
Okay, so Bruce Willis. Let's take a moment to recognize a storied career. The Sixth Sense, Pulp Fiction, Die Hard, Die Hard 2, all the other Die Hard sequels, 12 Monkeys, Blind Date, Armageddon, and the whole 9 yards with who, Joseph?
Amanda Peet.
There you go.
Are they going to say Michelle Pfeiffer? No. Okay.
So we love Bruce Willis. What a storied career. What a reliable career. Bruce, maybe not the best actor in any of his films, but always a solid one. So guys, remember how we used to play Sports Talk Baseball on the Sega Genesis in 1991?
Love it.
Yes.
Which were the 2 or 3 teams we picked all the time?
The Rangers.
Rangers.
Oakland.
Oh, you guys both nailed it.
Rangers and Oakland A's, man. Julio Franco, and then the Oakland A's had murder.
Dude, that Texas Rangers team was stacked.
So here's my point. The Oakland A's and the Texas Rangers got into my notes, so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, because they hit the most home runs. They were the 2 most
swing and a miss. Sorry.
They were the 2 most roided teams.
Like Dickie Thon.
And look, their pitching wasn't great, but you knew you were in every game with that lineup. Yeah. That's like Bruce Willis in any film. If he's surrounded by great talent in the directing chair or the actors around him, you can forgive what he gives up, because you know he's going to swing for the fences and drive the plot. There was always a comfort having Bruce Willis in a movie. So seeing him in a different light in this movie was just brilliant casting. And we love you, Bruce. We know you're battling something right now, but you gave us so many memories, and we love you on film, buddy. Anyway, okay, like I said, Bruce wasn't always the best actor, but Haley Joel Osment, in my opinion, probably the best child actor ever. If he could have stayed young, we could have had a much more superior Carl Grimes in The Walking Dead. He beats the shit out of the kid that plays Noah in Sleepless in Seattle too. So Haley Joel Osment as a child actor, brilliant. Anyway, simple but shocking twist. Bruce Willis's character, Malcolm Crowe, returns home with his wife, Anna, and a former patient of his, Vincent Gray, played by an unrecognizable Donnie Wahlberg. We started off with Mark, now we're going to Donnie. Of all people, no rat tail, no leather jacket, great stunt casting. He's standing there with a gun. Willis gets... Yeah, it was awesome. Great scene. Great opening scene. Willis gets shot, but we think he's okay. Wahlberg then shoots himself, kills himself. I thought Wahlberg was going to be a bigger star from this because he was tremendous. He looked very thin. You couldn't even tell it was him. He's still out there hanging tough, though. Anyway, I won't go down the whole plot, but Willis's character connects with Cole Sear, a kid who sees dead people. Willis is trying to rebound from losing Wahlberg, and he's trying to help this young kid with what's going on with him, the psychosis or whatever. Anyway, we get all these great creative nuances from Shyamalan. If you didn't know the spoiler, you swore Bruce Willis was a living being in this film. The way it's set up, the perceived interactions, this was mind-blowing stuff. Nobody else had done anything like this, at least anything I had seen. I watched this on DVD with a director's commentary, and the methodical way Shyamalan stayed a step in front of his audience was pure genius. Then he fucked it all up by making Lady in the Water. Anyway, we're not talking about that movie. So, but to conclude, what we have to appreciate is the unraveling of a series of emotional events. See, that's one thing both your movies are missing. They're shock values. It's fright, it's scare, it's anticipation, but The Sixth Sense is based purely on emotion. Shyamalan gave Bruce Willis the pathos. He gave him that pathos, that audience sympathy, and we were all in it. And then we find out he was dead all along, and it just tore us apart. And this could only take place in white suburban Philadelphia, of course. Because check it out. We're Hispanics from Texas. Can you imagine if your dead Theo was the star of this movie? Nothing would ever get solved after he finds out he could go and drink and go to strip clubs for free.
I can go anywhere. Fuck this house.
I ain't helping no kid, But anyway, what do you guys think about this selection?
The real twist was Bruce Willis's hairline. Okay, let's just fucking throw that out there real quick. We love you, Bruce. Anyways, the real twist was Haley Joel Osment, dude. He's now in his 30s and he looks weird. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Every man is improved by a beard, and this is just a fact. You can ask any woman. Any man is improved by a beard. He looks weird. I'm sorry. He looks like he's still 10 years old with a fucking beard. He's 5'2". It's very weird. I don't know what the fuck. Sorry, Haley Joe. You're the man. Well, at least you were when you were a kid. And no, he's not the greatest child actor. The little fucker from Show Me the Money, Jerry Maguire. No. He was way better. Kirsten Dunst, an Interview with a Vampire, way better. Then she was a fucking cheerleader. The teen suicide movie that she did. Yeah, she was way better. Okay, I'm just throwing that shit out there. All right. Let me break this shit down. And Rand,
his sister's pretty hot.
Haley Joel Osment?
Sorry, his sister's pretty hot.
Is she one of the Osmonds?
She comes out. Anyway, I'm not gonna. We don't. She's on Young Sheldon. She's on Young Sheldon. I saw her on Young Sheldon.
She's no Amanda Peet. Anyway, go.
So this movie was one of the first ones I thought of when I thought of plot twists. But doing the research, Rand, and going back and watching it, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Every time, now hear me out here, because there's not really a plot twist in this movie, but every time they show a ghost in this movie, the room gets cold and all the humans in there breathe out this cold little breath and it gets cold. Why the fuck is the kid never cold when Bruce Willis is around? Because he has a blanket up to his chin? What about his mom? Don't make sense, okay? What about all the other people? They show a lot of other ghosts, what's her name from the OC, vomiting from her mouth because she was poisoned. The 3 ghosts that are hung, they still have the rope around their neck. But Bruce Willis, there's no blood on his shirt. As a matter of fact, he's wearing a trench coat too, and he's not wearing a tie. He has, for some reason, he's managed to change his outfit like he's fucking Patrick Swayze and Ghost. Everybody else is in their death outfit, and you still see the way they died. But Bruce Willis has his hair combed nice. He's got a trench coat. He's got a tie now. It's kind of a plot twist. It's like M. Night Shyamalan was like, oh, this is a great twist at the end, but I can't fuck it up by showing him that everybody gets cold every time Bruce Willis comes around. Or I got to make sure that he's covering up the blood stain on his shirt by wearing a trench coat. But why do the other ghosts get to be stuck in that shitty rags or fucking noose around their neck? It's something that bothers me, and it never bothered me before, but I was watching videos and doing research, and this shit bothered me. So M. Night Shyamalan actually covered up Bruce Willis being a ghost. He showed everybody else's ghosts and all their little factors make the room cold. They look like they're dead. They show their death garments, everything like that, but Bruce Willis somehow has the fucking notes for some little kid that lives down the street. Very weird, very weird. So going back, I think it had a lot of shock value the first time I saw it, but going back and watching it again and again and knowing these factors, it kind of bothers me a little bit. And now knowing the fact, like, why would he hide that? Why would the director deliberately hide that? It would show it for the other ghosts, but not for Bruce Willis's character, because he wanted that aha moment, that big twist at the end. And I think that's what M. Night Shyamalan's all about. He's all about that big twist. So that kind of bothered me. It kind of bothered me, Rand. I don't know what you respond. I don't know if you want to let Joseph respond, and then you come back.
Could I just answer your question about why Bruce Willis changes clothes and why is he so well kept, and all the other ghosts who hung themselves, or like Misha Barton, they knew they were dead. Misha Barton was the one that said, "My mother poisoned me." That's why she's in that state. Bruce Willis doesn't know he's dead. That's why he's changing. That's why he's going on his life. Yeah.
Haley Joel said none of the ghosts know they're dead.
But Bruce Willis thought he was still alive. Remember, he found out he was dead when the ring fell on the floor when he saw his wife at the end. So he thought he was still a living being. So that's the answer to that question. But go ahead, Joseph.
Sinking ship. What did he say, Haley Joel? Most ghosts still don't know they're dead. Liar.
I can, wow, that's because I have seen it more times now. I mean, if it's on you and you got nothing else to watch, for sure you're gonna watch it. That's an interesting point there, Bob. Yes, the first time you watch it, I think you're so mesmerized by the kid, and yes, Haley Joel Osment's performance incredible. I think you're so mesmerized by him that you overlook the things that Bob pointed out. That's an interesting point. I will admit it was an interesting twist. It was, and then the rewatch. You mentioned rewatchability. I think as many times as we've seen all these movies that we've mentioned, we rewatch them now and we pick things apart, but it's still great movies. When you rewatch this one, you kind of start to see like the thing is like, oh, okay, obviously, yeah, he was dead here. That's why she didn't do this, or that's why there's that, or like you kind of, there's things that get pointed out. It is definitely on a lot of the lists, and that's great. That's fine. I loved the movie. I do. I'm a fan of this guy. I already said that. I know I said I was going to tear your choice selection apart, but like I said,
weird gestures as he said.
Like I said, I'm a fan of this guy's movies. Whether or not you think that everything after this movie is crap, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think he's done some really great stuff. I disagree with your pick is because I think whether you like it or not, whether people like it or not, The Village, and people don't like it, that was more, to me, more shocking than, oh, he's a ghost. Like, well, okay, it makes sense. He's a ghost. The weird fucking werewolf. It makes sense because him around. Like, I'm gonna get there, okay? Oh, he's a ghost. It makes sense. Oh, because the kid sees ghosts. Okay, cool. It didn't. There was nothing that I looked back on in The Village that told me what the fuck, prepared me or gave me any clues until the very end of that movie to tell me this is not 18 whatever times. This is like 2000, and I think I don't know what time when the movie came out. I think it came out in 2005-ish, 2000, something like that. That it's current time. I remember watching it, and I think people get pissed off with this because you find out, okay, the monsters aren't real, and then you fucking hate the movie. It's not necessarily a monster movie.
From minute one, it was a horrible film.
You want to talk about great actors? I know, right? There's a lot of great actors in that movie. Joaquin Phoenix is perfect. Keeps his mouth shut. But yeah, I was more shocked when you're watching The Village and they start to, at the end when they start opening their boxes and then they reveal the picture. They reveal the picture of what everybody within what looks like 1980 some or 1970 some, and then you're like, what the fuck? And then you hear that whoop whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police. Sorry, I had to do that. What the fuck? You hear the police siren, and you're immediately like, to me, I'm sorry, that is more shocking as far as M. Night Shyamalan, however you pronounce his name.
Sounds like a Grease song.
But I will say this too at the same time, because I know this isn't making any sense. Half the time, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Did I know what you did? Let someone make any sense? Don't think so.
I think picking an M. Night Shyamalan movie at this point is like, okay, well, he's got all the other ones. So while it's a great, great movie, and yes, Bruce Willis is awesome. Haley Joel Osment is awesome in his performance. You can pick any M. Night Shyamalan movie, at least in my opinion, because they all have twists. I haven't seen the most recent one, so hopefully nobody spoils that. And I know you guys haven't seen it because you don't watch M. Night Shyamalan.
I gave up on him. But can I address the listening audience? I want you guys to pitch, those of you listening right now who are still listening, I hope you are. One guy insults the way Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment looks, and the other guy talks about a completely different movie, and that's their argument. I just want to point that out.
I want
the argument is the other movie is better than your selection.
Sixth Sense didn't make any sense.
Forget everything I said. My argument is The Village is a better movie and plot twist than The Sixth Sense.
Just for that, Rand's gonna grow his own Haley Joel Osment beard at this moment. These next coming weeks.
Don't act like you wouldn't have a drink with him. Anyway, so
him and the rest of the Lollipop Guild.
So, guys, final question. Last word on plot twist.
Why didn't anybody mention Revenge of the Nerds 2? Ogre turns to a nerd. Kenny texted me that he got to mention that. I was like, what a fucking or Anna Nicole Smith and Naked Gun. You mentioned that earlier. She's hung. Okay, go ahead, Jess. I'm sorry.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so plot twist. We don't have to go into detail, but do you and because I think it all depends on what you believe the ending means. The Shining, is the ending a plot twist?
Oh fuck, that's kind of fucked up, man.
Yeah, I think it is a plot twist. Yeah,
because nobody because it wasn't mentioned and it doesn't come out on any list. But I mean, it like me and Bob have argued about this, on what we've
been there all along. Joseph, goddammit, even the bartender tells him, or Mr. Brady.
See, we disagree with the fact that Bob, you believe he's dead. He's dead the whole time. We got a sixth sense thing going on, right? He's a ghost.
I'm thinking like a reincarnation, that type of thing. But he keeps coming alive and he keeps continually doing the same thing, And
I think the house is just haunted. It's evil house. It's possessed. I mean, it's the ninth gate of hell, whatever you want to call it. And the house just collects another victim.
What about the furry giving a blowjob? I don't like that. That's weird.
That's why I believe. So that's why I believe.
Trying to lighten the mood here,
it depends on how you view that movie, and whether or not you can call it a plot twist. That he's either like, oh, he was dead all the whole time, kind of like a Sixth Sense situation, or whatnot. It's up for debate. Let's just say that
he has a worse hairline in that movie. Actually, Jack Nicholson. Sorry, bro.
So, last word on plot twists. Movies will never stop. I think now with the
we don't see a lot of them nowadays.
Well, we don't see a lot of smart ones. We see a lot of ones that we could see a mile away. I think with the advent of technology and all this other stuff that movies use to sort of puff up the way they look, it's not as genuine as it used to be. I think there was a big drop off after the early 2000s where we relied so much on shock value and predictability, where the patient storyteller kind of went away because they're like, okay, well, these people coming to our movies, who comes to the movies? Teenagers, people in their 20s. What are they doing? They're always on their phones. What are they trying to get? Out. Instant gratification, right? So I think a lot of movies now don't have the patience because they don't think that their audience has the patience to see something unravel, to see a story sort of hit its marks. And I think directors and filmmakers are saying we're going to lose money if we don't just go for, quick hits, quick kills, quick cuts. And that's what the movie industry is doing nowadays.
Nothing that came out on any lists or in any of things that I remember or anything. Well, I said Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, but I kind of, it's my own person. It's my own person. Yes. And you're right. Like he's got that old school state of mind. But it's on my personal list. A lot of people probably wouldn't think to add that to a plot twist, that it's not, the Tate murders. It's something completely different. It's a great ending though. Great movie. I'm sorry, Bob, you were saying?
And you were on a horsey. Okay, go ahead.
No, I agree with 1,000%. Like everybody nowadays, they have a short attention span because of, instant gratification and cell phone, like I was saying earlier, just that you have to have, those twists and turns and, big scares at the beginning, because if not, you lose your audience. You lose your core audience right now.
Guys, could I end with an email? Joe Michael sent this to us. I think you guys are going to like some of this.
Sure.
So, and if this doesn't work out, I'll cut it out. But let me just, I told him I would read it. So Joe Michael, two-time guest, sent us an email and he writes, "Hello, Formidable Opponents. I have listened to every episode. Great stuff. Seriously, I love your show. The best song in a movie episode was superb. Quite possibly the best episode this season. Dr. Randall laid the smackdown with his excellent choice. I believe Bob and Joseph knew they were defeated by Dr. Randall. They began to argue the rules had been changed mid-episode unbeknownst to them. Therefore, their selections appeared inferior. I was so happy that finally the doctor had a victory, okay? It's been a while since Randall has been vindicated by his selection. My happiness for this win turned into anticipation as I anxiously waited to listen for the following episode, Best 80s Metal Song, just to see if Randall would pick up a second win. I heard Bob and Joseph's admirable selections, and I knew it was going to be a tough fight for the doctor, but I had hope. Suddenly, my hope turned into hopelessness as soon as Randall announced his pick for the Best 80s Metal Song. Ran, I'm sorry, Iron Maiden's Run to the Hills is a great song, but The Trooper is far superior. When I introduced my 6-year-old son to Iron Maiden, The Trooper was the first song I played for him just because how metal it is. Thank you, Bob, Joseph, and Randall for your podcast. I'm looking forward to the following episodes with a glimmer of hope that Dr. Randall will win again." and I hope I proved him right this episode.
Which is the one he said you won? I didn't catch the beginning.
He said that the
best song in the movie.
Best song in the movie. Yeah.
Which one did you choose?
Best Take My Breath Away.
Oh yeah, you're fucking wrong, Joe Michael. You're fucking wrong. Okay,
I'm about 50% sure that was written by you.
Lock yourself in that janitorial closet at your church and never come out. God damn it.
We'll have Joe Michael on sometime in the future.
Love Joe Michael. Hey, I'm glad you. Hey, dude, you keep sending us emails. We got to read shit on this.
Yeah, dude. You're the only one that sent us emails.
Joe Michael's one of the funniest guests. We've had a great time with him every single time. A great.
We'll actually read. By the way,
I know when we have Joe Michael on again, we'll probably do like best wrestler entrance music or something that he really is passionate about.
Only if he wears a luchador mask and Randy wears his tights. I'm in.
I will, guys. Any other words?
It's gonna be a while until we see something like just shock. I think maybe we see it more in streaming TV shows than we do in movies.
Yeah, I think so.
If they do them like how one episode a week, they build to them, and the streaming, I don't know. It's just like I said, it's gonna be a while. We don't have these movies anymore. They just fucking shock you. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, the movies nowadays are. I think it's more about TV, which is weird because, it used to be TV, then it became all about the pictures, and then it's been back to TV, and then been back to movies. And then, I think movies are kind of dying out. I think COVID had a lot to do with it. Everybody started binging TV shows, and I think TV shows are where it's at. See a lot of great twists and turns on a lot of the HBO Max, a lot of the Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, shit like that. So I hope they still can, man. It's Randall is a great writer. He used to write scripts. He writes short stories. He's been a great writer. You can't tell by the way he talks and his selections, but he's actually a very good writer. Anyways, I'm just kidding. It's very difficult, Randy. Maybe you can speak on this. It's very difficult to come up with something original and coming up with something original that actually tricks the viewer or the listener or like shocks the listener without having some kind of shock value, just a clever twist that nobody saw coming. So it's very difficult to do. I think, and in my opinion, Rand, what do you have to say about it? You think it's difficult to do that kind of thing nowadays?
It is difficult. I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Jordan Peele because I think
I think, you know what? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I also think that because he is so fresh and his movies are so good and he uses his background, modern language and modern comedy along with a twist. That's why he's so good. So you have to almost nuance it. And I don't think you're going to see a lot of Jordan Peele's out there. I love Get Out. I don't think his follow-up movies were that great. But, I mean, he is a rarity, and that's why he hit it off so well after he left. He didn't leave comedy, but when he evolved into being a director and writer. So you're right, Bob. It's very tough. And if we could think of one or two names instead of, a dozen of them, I mean, it just goes to show how difficult this can be.
So, I mean, I'm hoping and praying. I mean, we see it a lot in TV. No, don't get me wrong. I see it a lot in TV, but I'm hoping and praying we get some of those movies that just like completely leave you, jaw open and all like, what the fuck just happened? I'm hoping to see more of those because I really do love that kind of movie.
Lastly, I want to say I saw the most recent.
Happy birthday, Joseph! It was your birthday. Everybody better send him something, a happy smile, something on Instagram.
We'll post his Cash App anyway. Go ahead.
And I
want to say I saw the most recent Ant-Man. Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle
still got the goods.
Oh yeah. She got more screen time on this one. That's why. Yeah, that's a beautiful woman. She can.
Baltimore like a bird.
No, I don't want to get too. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just saying, Michelle Pfeiffer still.
He's just saying he has a Catwoman poster on his bedroom.
Yes. We loved her in Grease too. Anyway, all right, everybody, that's our show. Everyone, listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Hit us up and let us know what your favorite movie plot twist is. Most importantly, let us know what you think about the show. You may reach us at formidableopponents@gmail.com and follow us on all forms of social media by searching for Formidable Opponents. We want to thank Creative Little Pill for her great artwork. Please follow her on Instagram at Creative Little Pill. Please rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. And join us next episode. We'll be back next week with, oh dear Lord, Sexiest 90s Song.
Yeah. Join us. Got a silk shirt ready to roll. And Jinko jeans.
I don't know about that one. So for Bob and Joseph, this is Randall. Until next time.